If you sit at a desk or work on a computer all day, this workout is for you. My name is Dr. Hannah Sweitzer, Doctor of Physical Therapy and board certified orthopedic clinical specialist, owner of Revive Physiotherapy. So this little workout, you are going to need a light mini band and a long foam roller. We are going to work on opening up the muscles that get short and tight when you're sitting in this position all day, also for drivers, and try to strengthen and contract the muscles in the back that get long and weak. So we don't need any of this stuff to start. We're going to start lying on our back. So most of the time when people think of posture, they go straight to their shoulders and their neck, but really it starts from the core, and we need to work on using our diaphragm as we breathe and allowing it to contract and relax so things aren't so tight in this area of our body. So you're going to place one hand on your chest, one hand on your stomach. As you inhale, you want your belly to push into your hand here, with very little movement from the hand on your chest, and then as you exhale, that hand is going to fall. So for a visual, if you're having trouble doing that, hand on your stomach. As you inhale, you can see my belly rise, and then exhale, belly falls. Now, normal, natural breathing, we're going to get some movement from the chest, but if you're new at this and you're trying to dissociate chest and stomach, you really want to try to minimize as much movement under this hand on your chest as possible. And really just feel your belly expand with the inhale and fall as you exhale. Let's do two more. Okay, we're going to come up into a half kneeling position. You can see how if you're sitting at a computer or driving all day and your shoulders are rounded forward and your rib cage is being pulled down, how your diaphragm that sits underneath the rib cage is kind of trapped and it can't contract and relax to its full capability. So lifting the rib cage up and allowing the belly to expand gives that diaphragm more activation, more oxygen, and more room to move. Another set of muscles that gets tight and weak from sitting is your hip flexors. So next we are going to stretch those out. Assume a half kneeling position. So one knee forward, one knee down. Stack your shoulder over your hip, over your knee, and the first thing we are going to do is just tighten up this glute, and that is going to pull your pelvis under. At this point, you should feel a light stretch to the front of your hip, nothing crazy yet, but we want to feel the stretch in a neutral position before we go for a deeper stretch. From here, take your right arm all the way up overhead, and now we're going to inch that left foot a little bit forward and then slightly shift the hip. So we don't need a big elaborate movement here to get the stretch that we want. If you want a little bit extra, you can take your left hand, grab your right wrist, and add a slight side bend to the left and a little lean backwards. And now we get a stretch from the upper right side of the chest all the way down through the front of the hip and a little bit into the quad. Let's get a 2 for 1 here and add 3 of those big belly breaths. Keep squeezing the right side of your glute. And switch. So put the left knee down, the right foot forward. Start by stacking shoulder over hip over knee, squeezing the left side of your glute. Left arm reaches up. Inch the front foot forward just a little bit, shift the hips slightly. Let's pause here before we add the upper body. Right hand grabs the left wrist, add a little side bend to the right, and then a little bit of extension leaning back. 3 deep breaths. Okay, and release. So those are the muscles that we're going to release and open up starting from our core. Next, we are going to work on opening up the chest and getting more movement through the upper back. So you will need your foam roller. You're going to place it behind you. As you lean back, you want to try to place it right in the middle of your back or along your shoulder blades. Keep your hips down. For this, we want to engage the belly muscles a little bit so that we're not just arching through the lower back where we already have a lot of mobility. So belly muscles tight, interlock your fingertips behind your head. This is to support our head so we're not just throwing our head back thinking we're moving through our middle spine. Hold this here, tuck the elbows in, and then slowly start to lean back over the foam roller. You might get a few pops and cracks, that's okay, you might feel good. And then come back up. So we're going to pick 3 spots along our middle back and arch over the foam roller 5 times in each position. So you can see here, if I wasn't holding onto my head and my upper back was stiff, I could do this and think that I'm doing myself good when I'm really just moving my neck that's already very mobile and free. So hold it tight, elbows stay tucked in, and lead with the shoulders. Let's pick another spot. Let's go down an inch. We're also, remember to keep your butt on the floor so that you're not lifting up and arching over. Hips stay down, and let that spine move. Last one here. And then let's go up a little bit higher and do a few more reps. Last one. Okay, come off of the foam roller. Now you are going to put it long ways. Careful getting on. You're going to have a seat right on the very edge and then lay all the way back so that your head is at one end and your butt is at the other. So you'll start lying on the foam roller with your knees bent. That will give you much more balance. Start with the palms up. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, bringing the back of the shoulder closer to the floor. Now this one is not an all or nothing. You are going to move in a position that works for your body, and you are going to listen to your body to tell you when to stop. So the goal is to keep your hands in contact with the floor at all times. So you will slowly make a snow angel, starting to feel a stretch across the front of your chest, your pecs, they're lengthening. As soon as you feel your hands start to pop up, that's when you're gonna stop and take 5 really big, deep diaphragmatic breaths, letting that muscle lengthen in this position. After you finish your 5 breaths, you're gonna try to creep those arms up a little bit higher. What I don't want you to do is just throw the arms up and down in a position that doesn't feel like a deep stretch. This is meant to be slow. This is not meant to be like a quote mobility exercise. This is a deep, long stretch. So you want to move slow and find a stretch that you can tolerate to be in for multiple breaths. As you breathe, your nervous system is going to respond. It's going to help you relax more, to stretch more into that pec. So the ultimate goal is to be able to bring the arms all the way up overhead, complete a full snow angel with the majority of your hand and forearm on the floor. But again, if you really need this workout, if you need this video, if you have a lifestyle that has a lot of sitting and forward shoulders, it's probably going to take you several times doing this video to get to this point, and that is okay. All right, let's come off the foam roller and move into some activation of muscles that are long and weak with our sitting posture. So we don't need that anymore. For the next exercise, lie down on your stomach. We're gonna point the toes, top of the feet down. And let's just start with the elbows on the floor being propped up in this position. Take a few deep breaths and just work on drawing the shoulders away from the ears. We are going to use the muscles of the middle back and the lower back to create movement. Sometimes that's easier to do after we bring a little bit of awareness to those muscles before we start asking them to work against gravity. So just relax here, allow the chest to dip down, kind of push your heart forward, lift your chin, and really work on squeezing those shoulder blades back. Okay, from here, lower down with the arms out in front of you, and I want you to think about being on a lat pull down machine or a shoulder press. We're going to be doing kind of that same movement with the arms to work the muscles of the middle back. So arms are out in front of you. As you lift the chest, you're going to squeeze the shoulder blades back and then lower and then let the arms go forward. Lift and squeeze, lower and reach. And we're gonna do about 10 reps. If you are having trouble lifting your chest away from the floor, you can always roll up a towel and put it underneath your forehead, so you don't have to be doing the lifting and lowering, and you can just work on moving those arms against gravity. Let's do about 3 more. For the next exercise, you will lay all the way flat. You can either just hover your face above the floor or again, roll up a towel and put it underneath your forehead. We're going to lift the right arm and the left leg, and then alternate, lift the left arm and the right leg. You might feel this in your lower back. That's okay. We're using those muscles, but we want to focus on really squeezing the glute and the hamstring to lift that leg up. Let's do 2 more on each side. Let's quickly reverse that and just hit a nice child's pose. Get any tension in your lower back is okay. Just kind of moving out and release that. Okay, to finish, you will need your band. So I have a long monster band. A regular band that is not a circle will work just as well. So you will start with your palms up with a little bit of band in between your hands, elbows by your side, pull the shoulders down. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and rotate the hands away from each other. So computer, driving, we're here. Shoulders are internally rotated and shoulder blades are away from each other. We're reversing that by lifting the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades together, and then rotating the shoulders out. So from the side, it would look like this. One thing that you do want to be mindful of with this exercise is that we don't pop the ribs every time you pull the hands apart. So we want to keep the ribs neutral, not rounded and pulled down, but in this neutral position, the stomach muscles a little tight as you continue to breathe and pull the hands away from each other. All of my patients who have computer jobs, who sit at a desk, my recommendation to them is to set a timer or an alarm every 45 minutes, get up, walk around, and then do either this exercise or the next one that we're about to do. I say keep a small band at your desk. If you don't have a band, just at least go through this motion and contract these muscles in the back to reverse your position. For the last exercise, we're going to use the band again, palms down. I would give yourself a little bit more band in between your hands so there's less tension, because we are pulling this all the way to your chest. And then release. We want to keep the elbows straight or fairly straight the whole time, just so that we're not doing a tricep exercise moving in and out. We want to focus on the middle back and the back of the shoulder. Pulling it in, tightening up, and then release. So just like the previous exercise, you want to avoid pulling and popping the ribs. So keep the rib cage down. Pulling the hands back. So either this exercise or the previous one every 45 to 60 minutes throughout your day. You don't have to do a ton of them, just one set of 15. More frequent, the better. Not, 100 one time a day, but 10 to 15, 6 to 7 times a day is going to help reverse this, promote this, release the tight stuff in the front, contract the weak stuff in the back, and you should be feeling a lot better. Hope you enjoyed that little mini posture reset workout. Again, my name is Dr. Hannah Sweitzer. You can find me on Instagram at Revive Physio.